From the outside, they had everything: money, fame, millions of fans. But behind the red carpets and flashing cameras, many of Hollywood's biggest names were quietly suffering. Robin Williams once said fame isolated him. Jim Carrey called it a trauma. Kristen Stewart admitted every public appearance felt like a nightmare. For some, smiling on command became a prison sentence. Because in Hollywood, showing pain is forbidden, and the show must always go on, no matter the cost to your soul.
Jim Carrey is a great character, and I was lucky to get the part. But I don't think of that as me anymore.
You don't? Not at all?
Not really, no. I used to be a guy who was experiencing the world, and now I feel like the world and the universe experiencing a guy.
Robin Williams made the world laugh, but privately, he was battling inner demons most couldn't imagine. Underneath the jokes was a man who fought depression, addiction, and the crushing weight of expectations. He once said, "I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy." Hollywood applauded his performances, but missed the silent cries for help. His smile became a shield, hiding a storm no Oscar could fix. Jim Carrey built a career on wild, unstoppable energy, but off-screen, he questioned everything. He described fame as not real and said, "There's nothing there." At his peak, he realized the dream he'd been chasing was hollow. Jim traded red carpets for spiritual retreats, meditation, and painting. Hollywood wanted the funny man forever, but Jim Carrey chose to find himself instead of staying trapped in an endless performance.
The one thing, like people talk about depression all the time, the difference between depression and sadness is just, from happenstance, whatever happened or didn't happen for you. And depression is your body saying, fuck you, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me. So a friend of mine who's a spiritual teacher has a really good take. His name is Jeff Foster, and his take on it is that they should change, you should think of the word of depressed as deep rest. Deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play.
Kristen Stewart became a global icon with Twilight, but fame felt more like a cage than a crown. She described walking red carpets as traumatizing and said she felt like a product. The media scrutinized everything: her expressions, relationships, even her clothes. Kristen once said, "People want me to be this thing. I'm not that." The world demanded she sparkle like Bella Swan, but inside she was quietly fading. Britney Spears was America's pop princess, but behind the glitter, the pressure was unbearable. Paparazzi chased her 24/7, fans demanded perfection, and every mistake was front-page news. Her 2007 breakdown wasn't sudden. It was years of being treated like a product, not a person. Britney later said, "I'm not a robot." Fame didn't just build her up. It broke her down piece by piece.
Hey, Britney. Britney.
Ready?
Here.
There you go.
What's that? Thanks,
Abajo de tu auto.
It's not about me, babies.
Bro,
Put that right there.
Step back. I got you back, Felipe.
Look at.
Everybody move so you can take that picture. Take a
So
picture.
I can take a picture.
Stay back, bro. Stay back. Don't get close. Spice. Let's take one picture.
We're standing in front of the street, dog. Just let her take a picture.
You're walking outside my home, you stupid move!
Move, hey guys, come on, guys.
I don't want it to go. I don't want Junior to get mad. I just don't want it to go, dog.
Aí fica de olho em mim. Fica de olho em mim.
Shut up.
Heath Ledger was a rising star, a heartthrob, a critically acclaimed actor, but preparing for dark roles like the Joker pulled him into dangerous mental spaces. Heath isolated himself, struggled with insomnia, and tried to silence his mind with medications. The deeper he went into his characters, the harder it became to return to real life. Hollywood praised his commitment, but it cost him everything.
Hi, and here we go.
Inside's hurt.
I want there to be any hard feelings between us, Harvey. We're being abducted. I was sitting in Gordon's cage. I mean, what happened? Did your balls drop off? No.
Selena Gomez grew up under a microscope, first as a Disney star, then as a pop sensation. Behind the scenes, health battles, heartbreaks, and mental health struggles wore her down. She entered rehab, took long breaks from the spotlight, and later admitted, "I felt like I wasn't good enough." The girl the world adored was silently fighting to survive herself. Fame demanded constant happiness, but Selena needed healing.
I know people who struggle with either mental health or with chronic illness, and I think they struggle with like wanting to be open and vulnerable about it, but also not wanting it to be their identity.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's scary when you think you have a label put over you, but I think once I found out that I had bipolar, I was actually free because I felt like I could understand it. And it's going to take time, and maybe that's something you keep personal for a while, but don't forget about taking care of yourself.
Demi Lovato became famous young, and with fame came immense pressure to be perfect. Behind the scenes, she struggled with eating disorders, addiction, and bipolar disorder. Demi said, "I was smiling in public while fighting for my life in private." Multiple overdoses and hospitalizations finally exposed what Hollywood had hidden for years. Her story is a brutal reminder. Fame doesn't save you. Sometimes it destroys you faster.
So I drank, and that night I went to a party, and there was other stuff there, and it was only 3 months before I ended up in the hospital with an OD. And, you know, ultimately, like, I made the decisions that got me to where I am today. You know, it was my actions that put me in the position that I'm in, and I think it's important that I sit here on this stage and tell you at home, or you in the audience, or you right here, that if you do go through this, you yourself can get through it. You can get to the other side, and it may be bumpy, but you are a 10 out of 10. Like, don't forget it.
Tim Bergling, known as Avicii, made the world dance, but he couldn't escape his own exhaustion. He hated the non-stop touring, the endless demands, the pressure to always deliver hits. In 2016, he retired from performing, saying, "I needed to start living," but the damage was already done. Avicii's story shows that even at the top of the charts, loneliness and burnout can be fatal.
But a dream would be to be completely at ease and completely happy with what I've got already and not really have any aspirations to do a billion of other things. Fuck, I want to be free from all the ideas of a life. Those are the things that kept me from living life, has been that exact thing, just having an idea of what life should be and what should make me happy. You know, making a bigger song will make me more happy, or this and this and this. Nothing has turned out to be true. But I want to learn how to be content.
Amy Winehouse had one of the most unforgettable voices of her generation, but fame magnified every one of her struggles. Tabloids turned her addiction battles into entertainment, chasing her downfall instead of helping her heal. She sang about heartbreak and self-destruction because she lived it every day. At just 27, her body gave out, but her story lives as a warning of how fame feeds off pain. In Amy's world, the applause never drowned out the loneliness.
At the height of her fame, everything she did, every step she took was absolutely scrutinized by the press. She could not go anywhere without a scrum of cameras and photographers going after her. And this is just a normal girl from London being followed around. She wanted to be a singer and a performer. She did not want to be a centerfold of paparazzi fodder, so this was absolutely horrific for her. And she was quite a private person, so this did not bode well for someone that already had tenuous mental health.
Mac Miller's music was playful and upbeat, but under the beats hid years of silent battles. He struggled with addiction from a young age, using substances to escape overwhelming pressure. Even as he released his most emotional work, Swimming, few saw how deep his pain ran. Fame loved Mac Miller's smile, but it missed the sadness underneath. He passed away at 26, leaving behind a legacy filled with brilliance and heartbreak.
I just got to ask you a little bit about your relationship with Mac and what that was like.
Yeah, it was crazy. I seen him come up basically the same way I did. And he was somebody who grinded always and didn't really ask for too much. And that's how I knew he was putting some together.
What was that like when you found out that he had passed?
It was really, really sad just because realistically, I had a lot of different talks with him about that type of stuff. I think that's where the disconnect was because I'm not into those things. So it was hard for me to be around it and support it and be like, you're my friend and I'm gonna allow you to do this without me saying anything.
Avril Lavigne ruled the 2000s, the punk princess who never fit the pop mold. But a secret battle with Lyme disease nearly ended her life. While rumors swirled about her disappearance, Avril was fighting for survival behind closed doors. She later said she accepted death at her lowest point. Fame wanted her rebel energy, but real life demanded rest and recovery first.
How were you with school?
School? I was really bad in school. I didn't have any motivation. I, sit in class and doodle, carve like little things, little designs in my desk, talk, laugh, be loud, get kicked out of class. And then when I did get kicked out of class, I was like, yes!
Macaulay Culkin became the world's most famous child star overnight with Home Alone, but the price was brutal. Lost childhood, media obsession, and intense family pressures. By his teens, Macaulay stepped away from Hollywood completely. He said later, "I wanted a normal life." Fame had given him everything, but freedom meant walking away from it all.
You actually still have a scar on you, I've been told, that you got from Joe Pesci shooting Home Alone. Is that true?
It's on my finger, yeah. It's actually one of the scenes, they hang me up on the closet door or something. They said, I'm going to bite each one of your fingers off one at a time. And during rehearsal, he actually bit me. And yeah, broke the skin and everything. I'm a little 9-year-old boy, and he's going around biting them, Yeah. And I still have the scar. I didn't even realize it until recently. And there it is, the little thing.
Now, did you get mad when Joe Pesci bit you?
Yes, I did. I got really mad at him. I was like, I don't care how many Oscars you have or whatever. And what are you biting a 9-year-old? What the heck's wrong with you? You hang me up on a door, so I'm also hanging on a door at the same time. So I'm like, what are you doing? And
probably not the most threatening you've ever been in your life. Kicking your legs, I'll get you.
Lady Gaga was built for stardom. Bold, fearless, unmissable. But inside, she battled chronic pain, PTSD, and depression. She described fame as toxic and said she felt like she had to be Lady Gaga even when she was suffering. Behind the outrageous costumes and thunderous applause, there was always a fragile human being trying to heal. Fame crowned her a queen, but it never saved her from herself.
A psychiatrist in, I said, bring me a real doctor. I said, why is there a psych here? I can't feel my body. First I felt full-on pain, then I went numb, and then I was sick for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks after, and I realized that it was the same pain that I felt when the person who raped me dropped me off pregnant on a corner, my parents' house, because I was vomiting and sick. Because I'd been being abused. I was locked away in a studio for months. And I dry my tears now, and I move on. You see, I open my eyes. I was taught to do this. You roll your shoulders back. You open your eyes. It helps you regulate.
Justin Bieber was barely a teenager when he became one of the most famous faces in the world. The pressure to always be perfect cracked him early. Arrests, breakdowns, addiction. His rebellion wasn't random, it was survival. In recent years, Bieber opened up about being lost in fame and fighting to find real happiness again. Growing up is hard, but growing up in front of millions is nearly impossible.
I've been struggling with my energy for quite some time now, and I just haven't known why. I've realized after a series of tests that I have what's called Lyme disease, which is a super silent disease that's not really very well known. It's very hard for doctors to test for it.